For many years, I wanted to make a furniture that mixed both wood and recycled plastic. Natural wood and the man-made plastic create a unique contrast that I find interesting. In this video, I'll be making a side table made with some recycled plastic circles I had laying around. For added stability, I'm going to be adding 2 levels to my side table. For the legs, I'll be using a walnut dowel. Since this is a side table and not a sitting furniture, the compression loads should not be that high. Securing the top and bottom levels with just machine screws should suffice. Using simple fasteners means that you can disassemble this side table easily. Therefore, the end-of-life process should be more efficient. I've made a quick render to help visualize my idea. This is the side table I'll be trying to build. Machine screws will secure the wooden legs to the circular bases. Inserts will be added to the plastic for a strong, reliable thread. To make sure the inserts have plenty of surrounding material, I'll be joining 2 identical circular plates. I'll be using only acetone as my adhesive. I have to work quickly before the acetone dries. I've adjusted my clamp setup to secure all edges evenly. We will leave it clamped for at least 24 hours to ensure a solid bond. Before we do any additional work on the circular plate, we need to locate the exact center. Using this reference point, I can mark the hole centers for where the legs will attach. To ensure both levels align perfectly with the legs, I'll drill both circles simultaneously. I'm using carpenter's tape to hold the pieces together temporarily. I'm using a 1 1/4 Forstner bit to match the exact diameter of the wooden leg dowel. The drill press is a little old and it vibrates, so I found an easy fix. Hey, it's not dumb if it works, right? Once all 3 holes are made, it's time to round off the edge. I'm using a 1/2 inch radius rounding bit. To avoid kickbacks and get a smooth finish, I'm removing material in small layers. I need to repeat this for all 3 sides of both faces just for 1 circular plate. I tried using some display boards to block plastic debris from flying all over the floor. It's not perfect, but it definitely makes cleaning up easier. Now, we start the process of adding inserts to the plastic circular bases. When adding heat-set inserts into plastic, the pilot hole is the most critical step. These pilot holes are very close to the exterior diameter of the insert. Getting them perfectly straight and perpendicular is crucial for a good fit. This is a jig I used during the pilot holes. It holds the piece perpendicular to the drill and it also makes it easier to switch sides. I'll be using the same jig for the next steps. Now that we have our pilot holes ready, it is time to place the inserts. I'm using a special attachment on a regular soldering iron to heat and push the insert inside the plastic. The hot insert melts the surrounding walls, making sure the plastic gets to all crevices. When the material cools down, it will tightly hold the insert. A small protrusion runs around the entire circle. This extra space guided the bushing on the router bit to ensure both sides were cut evenly. I'm easily removing it with a hand deburring tool. Now comes the tedious part, sanding. Since I couldn't fit this piece into a containment space, I'll be sanding it in the open shop area. To stay safe, I'm wearing a full mask for protection. I started with a 220 grit followed by a 320 and finished it off with a 400 grit for a smooth finish. To sand the flat faces of the base, I'm testing a quick makeshift setup for better management of dust and particles. Since these faces haven't had much material removed, they already have a very decent finish. So I'm going straight to sanding with 400 grit. I'll be reusing this containment prototype on future projects to continue to test its effectiveness. Okay, now let's change material and start working on the legs. These are 1 1/4 walnut dowels measuring 48 inches long. I'll trim them to size using the miter saw. I'll add a rounded edge to the top of each leg using the same router bit I used on the circular bases. This small detail will help the legs blend smoothly with the circular seat, adding a nice touch to the overall design. I'm using a jig to secure each cylindrical leg while drilling the through holes. This setup helps me align the top and bottom holes, ensuring everything lines up perfectly when assembled. I decided to add counterbores to hide the screw heads for a cleaner look. To keep the pilot and the counterbore holes perfectly aligned, I'll switch drill bits for each hole without moving the piece. The last step for the wooden legs is to apply a finish. Before doing that, I'll quickly hand sand the top of the legs. The rest of the legs don't need any prep as the dowels came pre-sanded. I'm using a natural shade Danish oil to gently darken the wood. I'm applying it by hand with a lint-free cloth and will let the legs cure for at least 8 hours. For added protection and a smooth polished finish, I'll be applying finishing wax to the walnut legs, using the same application method as before. Now that all parts are finished, it's time to assemble the side table. I'm using M8 bottom head machine screws to help secure the legs to the plastic circles. Once assembled, I check for sturdiness and ensure there is no unwanted movement or interferences. One last detail, we need to mark our plastic component with the recycling number 6. Indicating polystyrene. I'm really happy with how this side table turned out. I love the combination of wood and plastic. It's a perfect blend between two contrasting materials. One is man-made while the other comes entirely from nature, creating a unique, ironic harmony. I learned a lot from this build and definitely plan to make more projects combining these materials.